Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah Olson and I live in Minnesota with my husband and our 3 children, Sophie, Soren, and Svea. Sophie is 6.5, Soren is 4.5, and Svea is, I think, about 16 months old by the time this video comes out. And I'm so excited about today's video because I've been looking forward to sharing this for a long time. I just finally am making the time, setting aside the time to film this. We are talking about our homeschool curriculum picks for the year 2024 to 2025. Specifically for today's video, I'm sharing about our oldest child, Sophie. Sophie just completed kindergarten this past year, which was really fun. She has also done pre-K and 2 years of preschool with me, so she's pretty accustomed to being homeschooled at this point, doing school with mama. So she's excited to be officially a first grader very soon here. And as I'll explain in today's video, some of the work she's already doing is, you know, first grade level, but I'm just going to include all of that together, even some of the stuff she's already started, so that you can see what our well-rounded picks are for her first grade year. All right, we're going to start with math. Now, math took me a long time to decide on. I knew that I wanted to move away from, I felt like I wanted to move away from the Good and the Beautiful's math curriculum. I didn't have anything really huge to say against it, nothing too strong against it, but I just felt like, and this is so silly, maybe you'll understand, I know I've heard other moms say this too, the Good and the Beautiful strives to make their curriculum very good, you know, have good high morals, and also make it very beautiful. And it is so aesthetically pleasing and it's so pretty, but I really wanted a little bit more meat to it, and I know that it has its own a certain brand of academic rigor. I just felt like it was really pretty and fun for us for kindergarten math, but I just really wanted to jump into something else for first grade math. And after a lot of research about math curriculum and what I wanted to do in that area, I finally settled on Christian Light Education for Sophie for this year. It's also known as CLE to a lot of people. Christian Light is a curriculum company I've heard about for years now. I've had Christian Light or CLE on my overarching spreadsheet of possible future homeschooling ideas, and I just started to delve in and really research it and consider it for this upcoming year for Sophie, and I'm really excited to get into it with her. A little bit of background on CLE. Christian Light is a homeschool and other like schooling curriculum site. It is Christian, as the name suggests, and I really am looking forward to its approach. So for Sophie, I have grade 1 math. I have my laptop here, by the way, in case you see me looking down. I'm trying to make sure I cover everything. But I bought grade 1 math. Now, I did not buy the entire first grade year of math because what CLE does is something called light units, because it's called Christian Light Education, so they call it a light unit. And they have 10 light units, which are smaller workbook units. So every workbook, smaller workbook, is a unit in itself. And I think that's really going to motivate Sophie because you really see your own progress that way. You're working your way through the workbook. It's not one workbook for the entire year. And it is also a really good way for us to sample it and make sure that we are truly successful, having success, and enjoying Christian Light. And we haven't committed then to some very expensive curriculum that we can't back out of, and we'd have to try to resell it or something like that. So the light units are shorter and you can purchase them individually. So what I did was, out of the 10 light units, I purchased 5 of them. I know that seems like, okay, it's half the year already, Hannah, but I am pretty sure, I'm pretty confident we will like it. But also the light units are only about $5 each. So like I said, there are 10 light units in this first grade year. Here's light unit 101, so it's 101 through 110, and I purchased light units 101, this is just 101, up through 105 to start off our year, which we're starting very soon here. This is what it looks like, and I have been told by people that although it starts out very very easy and light, it soon ramps up, and it was recommended to me to actually just start at the beginning so that we don't have any gaps. So I know Sophie will really breeze through, especially due to our work that we've done with the critical thinking company, which I'll show you also in a little bit here. I think she'll breeze through these light units pretty quickly, and that's kind of why I got 101 through 105. And they also sell the teacher guide. Let me just plop that down there. This is the Mathematics 1, so grade 1 teacher guide, and this is for light units 101 through 105. So it's a little bit thicker, but I have heard that you do want to have the teacher guide. I think it'll be pretty self-explanatory, a lot of it, but it will help me with a little bit of scripted instructions, and they also lay out kind of the philosophy for every day, which includes things like doing some speed drills with flashcards and some oral drills, and then yeah, they'll walk you through the different lesson parts and the exercises too in her light unit book. I think that's all I will talk about regarding CLE or Christian Light. For now, I just keep hearing how great of a really foundational math curriculum it is, and how much people have, their kids have actually really enjoyed it. It has simple illustrations, but it, I think, will be beautiful enough and still engaging, but also just move us through all of the math concepts that we want to cover this year. And in grade 1, they also have a little clock and a counting chart, like a hundreds chart, and some other little, and flashcards and stuff like that, that I chose to kind of add on to the set. But all in all, it is really inexpensive for a math curriculum. So I'm excited about it for multiple reasons. Okay, also for math this year, I'm definitely planning on continuing with this mathematical reasoning book. This is from the Critical Thinking Company. I have an entire video full of a Critical Thinking Company workbooks haul, and we have loved pretty much, yeah, every single Critical Thinking Company workbook that we have. We have really enjoyed it. This one is for grade 1, and Sophie started it a while ago. We are not very far into it, but she started this at the end of her kindergarten year last year, and we have really been enjoying it. She has done these workbooks before. We do them with my son, who will be in pre-K this year, and I wish I had done these mathematical reasoning beginning levels for Sophie a little bit more. She has a solid foundation in math, I would say, but I feel like my son has such an early solid foundation in math due to these Critical Thinking Company mathematical reasoning workbooks. So I will probably talk more about these in Soren's video, in my son's video, about his homeschool curriculum picks. But I am planning on doing this alongside Christian Light for Sophie's math this year, partly because we love it. I feel like it's really wonderful, and honestly, these can be used as a curriculum in themselves. I'm just trying to add in Christian Light. But the other reason I am choosing to incorporate this is because I heard, and we'll see as we go through Christian Light, that Christian Light doesn't have as much of an emphasis on critical thinking skills, and that's the name of this company, the Critical Thinking Company. So I definitely want to keep incorporating critical thinking skills, of course. So that's why we're including mathematical reasoning grade 1. Something else I am planning on continuing this year is addition facts that stick. Now I kind of fell off the bandwagon with this a little bit this year. I'm just not as much of a games mom, and I know that sounds so funny, but I kind of set that aside, and the kids were happy and content doing workbooks and stuff, so we kind of pushed some of these games aside. But I have to mention it, and I do plan on picking it up again. This is by Kate Snow, and it's called Addition Facts That Stick, which I probably said, and it's a game-based, like simple games that you photocopy 10 frames for, and other little things, like little 10-frame flashcards and stuff, and little game boards, and you play a game basically every day with your child doing these addition facts practice. And sometimes the kids, when it's a game where you call something a game, they don't really realize they're getting that math drill practice. But Christian Light does have built-in flashcard drill time, or at least that's what they say to do, I think every day, and so we might not need as much of this. This book also has, this is upside down, it has sheets you can photocopy for your child to do, like a practice sheet, kind of like a non-timed test. And Kate Snow makes these books about addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So I would like to incorporate this year as well. Since I am still kind of on the math topic here, I wanted to mention these are from our haul, my haul I did about Critical Thinking Company. We have others, these are kind of supplemental workbooks. These are not being done daily, but this is a grades K through 1 building thinking skills, and it does include science and social studies concepts in it, but math is in there too. We've got visual perceptual skill building, which I've mentioned this before, but their only thing that's not a strength, I feel like, with this company is naming their workbooks. So it's called visual perceptual skill building, and that has some fun activities which I would kind of relate to logic and math and those other skills, and then creative problem solving. So some of these will be kind of in the math realm, but supplemental. Okay, moving on to our next subjects, I wanted to talk about what we're doing for first grade for language arts and reading. And I also, again, was pivoting away from The Good and the Beautiful. And The Good and the Beautiful has a really nice open and go curriculum, like course books that are very easy for parents just to flip to the next day's page and jump right in. And we have enjoyed them, but I just felt like we needed something a little bit more. I'm a former elementary teacher, and the research that I've done, not only like the trainings that I have attended and training I've received, but also since leaving teaching and now being a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, I have really wanted and been determined to focus on phonics. And I really don't want us to have any gaps in that area. So for Sophie this year for first grade, I wanted to hit phonics hard. Now we are doing Explode the Code. We're continuing Explode the Code. This, I would say, became a really strong focus for us towards the end of the school year, but I think it'll be more of a supplemental thing for us, possibly some independent work time if I'm working with Soren right then. For her this year. And this is one of the Explode the Code books that we have, and she's really been loving it. They have more simple illustrations. Let me show you. They have more simple illustrations and just cute little drawings and activities, but we love Explode the Code, but I had something else I wanted to do to really hit phonics even harder. Okay, so for a learning to read or reading curriculum, I went back and forth in my research process between two options, and I'll just tell you the options and you can look into them yourself too, but I was trying to decide between a Christian Light, actually, again, Christian Light's program called Learning to Read, which also is, it overlaps with or it's in conjunction with their reading curriculum for grade 1. So they kind of started with learning to read, then it moves into what they call reading, grade 1. And I was trying to decide between a Christian Light and a program called All About Reading, and I picked All About Reading. I'm very, very excited about it. I think it's going to be so good for us, and I do so far feel very confident in my decision. But I also heard really good things about Christian Light and their learning to read program and their language arts and their reading. So all of those things kind of working together. And honestly, and I'm going to share a little bit more about something that's going to cover a lot of language arts for us, but if I feel later on in the year that there are some holes in it, I will be probably choosing language arts grade 1 by Christian Light to add in. But first of all, let's talk about reading before we kind of talk more about language arts stuff. Okay, so All About Reading is a very intensive phonics program, and I love phonics, I love teaching phonics, and it is showing up in recent science of reading stuff as being extremely, extremely important. And it uses this All About Reading program, which is sometimes called AAR. It uses the Orton-Gillingham methodology. I'm looking down here at my KathyDuffyReviews.com. in case you need to check out that site. It has wonderful explanations and reviews of various, like countless homeschool curriculum. So the main reason I was hesitating a little bit, or I was a little bit unsure about All About Reading, was the price point. It is a pricier program, but I've watched videos and looked up things on Pinterest about how to organize the program in such a way that you can reuse it with subsequent students or your children later on, and I think that that will be really useful for our family, considering Sophie, our oldest out of 3, will be the first one using it, and we can work our way right down through, provided we love it. But I really do think we are going to love All About Reading. All About Reading is in the top 102 picks on this Kathy Duffy website, which is always encouraging to me. Some things I have selected aren't on her top 102 picks, and we have to remember that not only is every family different, but every single child is different. So what might be objectively really wonderful, you have to still apply it to your own child's learning and your own teaching style. So anyway, back to All About Reading. It is a multi-sensory approach. There are, I wish I had it open to show you all the games, but there are lots of little activity pages, kind of like file folder games if you've heard of those, and the games are really simple. We probably won't affix any little paper scraps, paper pieces to the little game boards because I plan on reusing it. So I plan on putting like tearing off the front cover, tearing out the pages, and then putting individual activities into page protectors, sheet protectors in a binder. So there are letter tiles in AAR, there are those games I mentioned, and then the teacher or parent handbook. It definitely has a lot of scripted suggestions, so really it can walk you through exact ways to teach certain sounds and spelling rules and phonetic rules. I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be really beneficial for Sophie to get that solid phonics foundation, and I look forward to using it with the other kids, which I am going to be using the pre-reading program with Soren. For Sophie, she'll be in level 1 just because I wanted to start there, and they do have a placement test online too on their site, but with Soren he will be doing the pre-reading, which I'm also excited about. So our All About Reading level 1 includes the teacher's manual, a student packet, and 3 hardcover readers. And I just keep hearing people sing the praises of this program and of the readers included, so I'm very excited. I purchased it when their site was having a sale, and yeah, I will hopefully be back with an update about how that is going for us. Okay, regarding handwriting, I do plan on continuing with this level 1 handwriting from The Good and the Beautiful. I love their handwriting books. Those are honestly some of my favorite things about The Good and the Beautiful. They have wonderful, they're called like pre-writing books that I've used for my kids too, when they are just like copying cute squiggles and different shapes that way. But I also like their handwriting books. So Sophie is quite a ways into this one for level 1, kind of left over from last year, and we will just be continuing with this. And then I have, I think, one more handwriting thing that we'll be doing this year with her. Okay, the next thing we'll be doing for handwriting is called A Reason for Handwriting, and this is the level A or manuscript A, and we had attempted this a long time ago, and it just was a little too advanced or just too much for Sophie. We had other stuff going on that year in terms of handwriting, and I think at this stage or age for her, it'll be easy enough for her to kind of wrap up this book and then dive a little more wholeheartedly into A Reason for Handwriting. I really like this program. I was really excited about it in the past, and I didn't want to forget about it. We still have the book, and I want to continue with this book, but I'll show you inside. Okay, so I've got lesson 23 pulled up here. Basically, they have a short handwriting lesson for every day of the week. Well, 4 days of the week, and then day 5, let me see here, is when you get to do your copy work really nicely on a different page and then draw a picture. Maybe you can see, sorry if it's too bright. We've got day 1 here where the student is practicing the letter V and then the word very. And then day 2, they're practicing the word Proverbs and uppercase word he, like H-E. We've got direct, put, first. So it might sound like random words, but when you put them, most of them together, not all of them together, you get a Bible verse. And so you are practicing an entire scripture verse by day 4. So this one says, in everything you do, put God first and he will direct you, Proverbs 3:6. And so then your child copies that, practices it, they trace over each of those letters below. And then they've got these really nice just simple copy work. Oh, I guess I said they get to draw a picture. Sorry, they get to color a picture, but then there's this lined paper that they can select from. There's a bunch of it here at the back. And so I love the idea that it's short, sweet, simple, every day of the week, and then day 5, like Friday then, or whenever you are rotating around to it, that would be the day when your child gets to make something really lovely to help hone in on that particular scripture or verse. This might go without saying if you've seen any of my other Yodo player videos, but we love the Yodo player in our family, and like I said, I have a lot of other videos. I have a blog post all about it, but I have to include that here when I'm talking about language arts and reading. So Sophie learns in a whole variety of ways, as many of us do, but one of her big strengths is auditory learning, and she has picked up on so much listening to beautiful novels and like classic literature on her Yodo player. So that's an audiobooks or audio content player. For those of you who don't know about the Yodo player, I can link stuff down below for you. But I love how Sophie is getting a lot of some of these read aloud books even on her Yodo card during quiet time. And it's my kid's quiet time right now, and who knows if she's listening to Treasure Island right now, or The Secret Garden, or Charlotte's Web. She loves all of those, The Jungle Book, and I love the exposure she's getting to wonderful quality literature with high vocabulary levels. So yes, we love the Yodo player. Our family is also a huge fan of a specific card. It's the Children's Poetry Collection card, and we have a poetry collection book that we use for morning time, like morning basket, and I think I linked that in our morning basket video, but I can link it down below for you here too. And a lot of the poems overlap from our Yodo card to the book that we already had in our home library here, which is so much fun. So Sophie is definitely getting a lot of stories and a lot of, we'll do read alouds too, and we've got poetry, all sorts of stuff going on. So I am looking forward to all of that for her this year. We'll just continue with all of that. But then, like I mentioned, if I feel like we're getting a little bit of a gap with our language arts, I am going to probably jump into Christian Light, their level 1 language arts for this year. But I do have something I will be mentioning later in this video that will also cover some more language arts skills. Okay, here on my spreadsheet for Sophie's year, I have the subject called logic, and that's just a place where I put some supplemental activities that we use throughout the year and have been using this summer too. We've got No Stress Chess, which is a game that makes chess a little more accessible or easy for kids. We have a wonderful logic activity pack for ages 4 through 7, which is available on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I put little Velcro stickers on it to make it a lot easier for the kids to place all these different pictures on this grid. I can link that down below. I'll try to link everything that I can for you. And then we have the game called Rush Hour. I believe I got the kids the Rush Hour Junior or something like that. It's like Rush Hour Kids or Rush Hour Junior. Rush Hour is a very fun little game about sliding cars and trucks back and forth and trying to get the one truck out, but you can't really make any of them turn. So anyway, it's a really good spatial thinking and logic game. So we have a lot of logic related activities that we will also hit throughout the year. In terms of first grade curriculum picks for Bible, a lot of this is kind of overlap as far as family subjects go, but I'll mention it here anyway in case you don't watch, like if I do a video about family subjects or something, I just want you to hear what we're doing for our first grader in case you miss it. And we will continue with our Abeka Bible story cards. Those have been wonderful. I've spent a lot of time laminating them, and they're really fun to hold up a picture. Some of them, we have like the giant picture one for their salvation story cards, which I really like, but we have smaller ones too that are like a normal size page, and I have one of the kids hold that up, and then I read from the Sunday school teacher's guide is kind of what it feels like, but it's been a really good way for us to get some of those Bible stories incorporated into our school time. We also casually do the Charlotte Mason scripture memory system, meaning we don't hit On odd numbered days we do this first, and on even numbered dates we do this first. We just try to review and constantly be learning new verses and reviewing old ones. But I do have the Charlotte Mason, like from the website, I have the packet of ESV scripture cards. The site has at least a couple translations for those scripture cards, and we've really enjoyed learning Bible verses that way. We also have a Truth and Grace memory book that is like a child's catechism. It's wonderful. We are continuing to work our way through it, and that's part of our morning basket time too. I will link that down below, as well as the Spotify playlist that I found that pretty much goes right along with those questions. So it's really fun to sing the questions and, turn it into a song sometimes. So it's nice to have that Spotify playlist to go alongside that catechism time. And then our family is often involved every year in a community Bible study and or BSF, which is Bible Study Fellowship. Those are both interdenominational and international programs, and I love signing up for what's called a Women's Day class. So it's like a Wednesday morning or a Tuesday morning, and it's just for a couple hours, and the adults, the moms, or just all the women get together and discuss their homework questions from their Bible study that past week, and then the kids get a very high quality children's program where they learn about Bible stories and do crafts and snack and songs and all of that. So I plan on continuing with CBS this fall and possibly some BSF as well. Our family lives in 2 locations throughout the year, so that's why I'm kind of hesitating. I piece it together as best as I can. Health-wise, we are continuing with healthy habits for healthy kids. This is grade K. We're about ready to move up to the next level, but honestly, I have loved this one because I bought it for Soren too. So when Sophie and Soren, when we do health, we just do it all together. They each have their very own student workbook here. It's a very cute, kind of like check off new foods that you've tried, or what makes a healthy meal, and safety and exercises and hygiene. All sorts of little health subjects are covered in this. This is made by Teacher Created Resources. So this has been really good. Maybe we'll get the first grade or the next level one as well. And then typically Sophie is involved in Irish dance class. She's kind of interested in doing basketball. Again, she did a little basketball this summer and really loved it. So we'll kind of see what we end up doing. But when I can, I like signing the kids up for an extracurricular, but I try not to overload us because our focus is our home and our family and our homeschool, and I don't want to be running every which way. So we'll see what we end up in this fall. It may be Irish dance, or it may be basketball, or something else that is not on my radar yet. I guess this is under the health category a bit. I have this book called Connoisseur Kids, and anyway, it's about basically having good manners and being a good citizen, all of those kinds of things. It's packed with fun advice and little activities, etiquette, manners, living well. And I've heard good things about the activities in this book, just to do in little bite-sized pieces. Here's a little looks like there is a poem about having good posture, and your assignment for today is to use your best posture. And then they can, there's an explanation about why good posture is important. It seems like just a nice little thing. That was like 3 pages to discuss. And then they have a tissue dance game for great posture. And then they have a little game for everyone to play. So this is supplemental, clearly. I don't know that we'll hit a Connoisseur Kids lesson every single day, but this could be great for discussion around the breakfast table, or maybe I can turn to a specific chapter if I'm noticing we need to hone in on some kind of, etiquette that we are lacking in at the moment or in a certain season. So I got this book too. In terms of the subject art, that subject is involved in so many aspects of Sophie's life, everything she does is so artsy and beautiful, and she has such an appreciation for it. So I'm not really doing any formal art teaching. I have some awesome books about teaching drawing to children. I think one is called Teaching Drawing to Children. And we have wonderful Usborne art cards that we include in our morning basket time. And then I have the kids each pick 2 paintings they're interested in that morning, and we do this every few days. Then they get to hear about the facts that I read off of the back, and that's Usborne art cards. They're really fun to discuss. So art is a little more casual, little, but it's definitely infused into every day. Another thing I'm hoping to start with Sophie this year in first grade for her is piano. And I am planning on using the Hoffman Music Academy. That is a website for online piano lessons. And they have, I believe it's free unless you want to have the printable like sheet music, downloadable sheet music, and then it's a certain cost per month or something like that. So I think I found a coupon or discount code through maybe someone I follow on Instagram, and I have heard good things about Hoffman Music Academy. For us, with our more mobile lifestyle of moving between two different locations throughout the year, I wanted us to have consistency in our piano teacher, if you know what I mean. I don't want to be driving super far to go to weekly lessons or something. So I'm hoping to do the Hoffman Music Academy for Sophie and for Soren this year. We just need to get a hold of a piano for them, and I'm looking for a weighted keys digital piano because that is more mobile for us whenever we move. We have a pretty full living room at this house, and we don't have room right now for a full piano, so I am looking forward to hopefully starting piano lessons. That would be more of later this fall, not like next week or something, with Sophie. And I took piano, my husband took piano, his grandma was a piano teacher, my mom is really good at piano, and both sides of the family are musical, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with my kids. Couple more things that I don't want to forget, and then I'll talk about a family subject option for this year, or choice for this year, that I'm really excited about. First of all, before I forget, we've got something called Draw Right Now. Write as in you're writing. And I have heard about this before. I finally decided to jump in and order it. This is a book that combines basically drawing lessons with some handwriting skills. I especially thought it would be really fun for Soren, but we're going to probably do it all together because they do have some copy work that is going to be, sorry, I can't talk and think at the same time. Some copy work is here as well. So basically this was developed by, I think she was an elementary teacher, and she realized or recognized that a lot of the skills needed to form letters are also involved in drawing, so you can make learning to write letters and words more fun by focusing on some drawing skills. So this page is about a barn, as you can see, and they've got all the different steps here. I just thought this would be fun for us to do together, maybe more as a supplemental art kind of thing. And then there are several sentences here about barns that could also be copied down. So I think, here's Kat. I think this will be a really sweet little addition to our year. It may be too easy for Sophie, but I will try to scaffold it up for her, especially if she can get some of that copy work in too. I got this little notebook set to go along with that Draw Right Now, because it has a spot for your drawing at the top, and then you know, lined paper at the bottom, which I really love. The kids have other notebooks like this that they just love writing in for fun. Maybe some chicken facts, because we got chickens pretty recently, and they love, you know, whatever is interesting to them at the moment. They love working on a notebook like that. So I have those notebooks set aside for our Draw Right Now. We also have a book called Draw the USA, which I've been hanging on to for a couple years now, and I keep waiting to see if we're ready to jump in. And Draw the USA is actually, it is a geography lesson, basically. It's an ongoing geography lesson, and this is written by Kristen Drager, and you basically are making a simple outline of all 50 states in America, and it's just a basic introduction to the geography of our country. And I think that is so valuable and so important, but I just don't know if we're quite there yet. This book is actually recommended for ages 5 through 11, and Soren will be 5 this fall, so I kind of was hoping to wait until both of my older kids are ready to jump in together, because I know they'll both want to be involved and I want them to feel successful. in terms of drawing the United States in this ongoing project. I've heard good things about Draw the USA. It's in this Draw the World series by this author, and I would just love for my kids, I almost said my students, they are my students, to have a really solid grasp on geography. I feel like that's an area that I have some gaps in, not really due to other people's fault. I just didn't delve in probably as much as I should have over the years, and I want to really give them a solid foundation, and why not start with our country? In terms of science this year, I don't plan to do any formal science lessons with the kids because so much of our life is already spent appreciating and learning about science. We have so many books. This is like not all of the books. We have more upstairs, we have a book bin over here, and more at the apartment, but we love books in our family, and so many of the books we have are nonfiction, and I feel like we're constantly learning about countless science subjects. So I'm not concerning myself with experiments and stuff, although we definitely will get some of the science subjects covered by the final thing I share with you today. And of course, we'll be doing lots of read alouds throughout the year. We love reading books together, not only picture books, but chapter books. And some of mine, these are like saved for this year, but also future years. They're right up there. That's where I store them. And yeah, we'll have a lot of read alouds. So now I'm going to share I'll share the final curriculum pick with you that is going to be so much fun this year. So something new we are trying this year is called 5 in a row. You might have heard 5 in a row. I had heard of it in passing, but the more research I did, the more I got so excited about it. 5 in a row is a guide that you get. I got mine on Amazon. It's nice and thick here. This is a guide for the parent that contains a number of mostly children's book related week-long unit studies. And I haven't been super big into unit studies in the past, but I wanted to do them a little bit more, especially now that Sophie is in 1st grade and Soren will be in pre-K. So this seemed like the perfect time to jump in. And I also have a busy 1-year-old in the mix, but it just seemed like a good season in our family's life to jump in with these 5 in a row units. Now this is volume 2. The order for volumes 1 through 4 does not matter. I just picked it because I looked online at the table of contents and I liked the children's books that would be covered in this one. I had some I already owned and I was excited about. Anyway, the way this works is you have this guide for the parent or teacher, and then you do need to either go to the library or purchase the books that are included, the books that you want to study. Now it's called 5 in a row because you actually read the same children's book 5 days in a row, which maybe at first it sounds like, well, that sounds boring, but if you know kids and you know quality literature, it does not hurt, and in fact it is strongly encouraged, and kids love reading things again and again and again. Okay, for instance, and I'll try to see how I can hold all of this up. This is one of the books. I don't know this one yet, actually. This is one of the books in this volume called The Giraffe That Walked to Paris. And in this book, you have all sorts of subjects that get covered by studying that book for 5 days in a row. And every day you reread that same children's book, that same picture book to your children, and you kind of unearth or discover something new about that book, or that you can be revealed in that book. So for instance, they've got social studies. You'll study geography, like Egypt, France, and the Mediterranean Sea. This is all the little mini lessons that go with the Giraffe That Walked to Paris. You've got social studies, citizenship. It is also one of the top 102 picks on the Kathy Duffy Reviews site, and there are lots of helpful articles, I guess, on Pinterest that help you kind of think through how you'll organize 5 in a row. And so that does cover language arts. I would say it covers language arts quite well, but it also involves math and science and art and social studies. So I think between our Christian Light and our All About Reading and our 5 in a row, like we are covered for a really, really good year coming up. So that's it for today's video. I hope and think that I covered everything. If I did not, I mean, I really hope I did not forget something. It seems I covered all the main subjects. I don't want to scare anyone who thinks we don't do math at all or something like that. So I went through my spreadsheet there. I think I shared with you everything we'll end up doing. Of course, things get tweaked throughout the year, but I'm so excited for this school year and all of the growth and learning that will happen and all of the memories, hopefully, too. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I would be so honored if you would choose to stick around. If you have kids younger than first grade, then definitely hang around and you can watch some of my older videos about preschool picks and kind of how we approach preschool. I have a lot of videos and resources that I share with you regarding homeschooling in these younger ages because, like I might have mentioned before, this was Sophie's 4th year of doing school time with Mama, so we aren't super duper new to homeschooling, although we are still in the early elementary grades. It's my kids' quiet time right now, and I'm hoping my baby stays asleep upstairs so that I can finish a little more filming. Hopefully I can do Soren's pre-K homeschool curriculum picks. But I hope this video was helpful for you, and I am so glad you're here. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.